If you ever feel like you just need to have more clients in order for you to make money, then this video right here is going to save you months and months. In fact, it's going to save you years of frustration, because truth is, you do not need more clients to survive. In fact, more clients are going to make you broke, right? So let's dive in. Most of the people that I know that are still stuck in their kind of businesses that they run, they fall into something I call the pipeline price trap. Yeah. So this is how their businesses look like. Yeah. For one, they start by wanting to get more money. Yeah. So they are broke and they want to have more money. So what gets to happen? They go after getting more clients. Yeah. And then from getting more clients, then they feel overwhelmed. And then when they're overwhelmed and burned out, then they go back to being broke. Yeah. So their life is comprised of this, and in fact, their whole entire business is made of this. That's why they are still stuck. Now, my question to you is, if it were you in this kind of situation, what would you have done? Leave your answers in the comments. All right. So for most of you, I know you're going to say getting more clients is what is going to solve this problem of brokenness. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, logically and on paper that feels right, but in the long-term run, that is the worst case scenario. So if your answer was yeah, I have to get more clients, then you fell into a trap. What trap is that? That is the pipeline price trap. So let's get into the details of what this trap is like. In order for you to understand what this trap is like, you need to know the fact that more clients don't get to mean more money. Yeah? So more clients do not equate to more money. That is the fact that you really need to know. And that most of those businesses that are still broke, they tend to fall into this. Yeah. So when you kind of run a business or in business, there's an equation, yeah, called the revenue equation, where we say revenue is gotten by price. Yeah. Basically, this is just some proportion of the price, yeah, that you multiply by the number of clients. Yeah? And for those of you that are still stuck, you're here because you see little revenue. So you think in order for you to make more money, you have to increase on the number of clients. Yeah. And we said logically it makes more sense, and on paper it makes more sense. But in reality, trying to chase after more clients is going to make you more broke. Yeah. So let's put some numbers here to make more sense. Yeah. So imagine your revenue, yeah, is dipping or it is flatlining. Yeah. For one, most of you people are going to say, because you're running after more clients, let's say some proportion of your price is maybe 20. Yeah. And your target revenue was like 2,000. So in order for you to get this revenue of 2,000, you think you're going to have to increase on the number of clients. Guess what's going to happen? In order for you to get the 2,000 revenue, you have to multiply the 20 you get from that price multiplied by 100. Yeah? So this will then give you your 2,000, which is the revenue. Yeah? So by the way, if you really don't know how to get your prices, I wrote a book. It's called Price It, right? Yeah. It is going to help you understand how to price with clarity, confidence, and control. So feel free to grab it. I'll be leaving a link to its digital, copy in the link in the description. All right. But let's look at this just alone. Yeah. Yeah. So this alone creates a problem. What problem is that we see that multiplying this parameter, yeah, the number of client, is going to mean that you're multiplying a weak number. Yeah. So let me explain. In order for you to get this, it means you have to get 100 clients. But these are so many, there are many, there are too many of clients that you need to serve. Meaning that for you, you're going to always be burnt out. Yeah. You're going to attract cheap clients, that is low quality clients, and then at the same time, you're going to overthink. Yeah. Because you're always overwhelmed by the number of clients that you get to serve. And that is why I'm against this. Yeah. And now, you might say, why that? Why do you say bad clients? Why do you say that multiplying this number is wrong? Well, the reason is quite simple. Because you're having so many clients, you're always going to work hard. Yeah. Like you're going to take up so much work. That is, you're going to take up so much work, which is in terms of clients, 100 clients, multiply by this small portion of the price to get that figure that you're always targeting, unless if your figure is less. All right. Then the other thing is you're going to get bad clients. Yeah. And trust me, with these bad clients, they're always going to be negotiating. They're always going to want to have discounts. They're always going to be picky. They always want you to change this and that here and there. And then lastly, you're always going to be sacrificing your time for money. Yeah? Because if you have 100 clients to serve, it means you're left with less time to serve those clients. I'm telling you this because I know it never happened to me. I remember back then when I was still at campus, I would try to survive by helping people do their coursework, helping people do their dissertations, their theses. And then guess what happened? There's a point I reached when I needed about 1M. Yeah, because I had some issue that was going on. So I needed to get 1M in the shortest time possible. Yeah. So with that 1M, students by then was saying the maximum they can give, or the maximum they could give at that moment, was 250 for each dissertation. Yeah. So guess what? Because I was so desperate and in need of money, I had to get more clients, get to pick on more clients so that I get to match up my 1M. Meaning that in order for me to get the 1M, I had to get this money they were giving me, 250k, and multiply it by 4. Yeah? And this gave me 1M. But guess what happened to me? I was always burnt out. Yeah, I would swap my time. Yeah, because I needed more money, and these guys were working on deadline schedules, so I would always get to sacrifice my time to do this work. Yeah, I was always burning out. I was always overthinking. Yeah, it wasted, like it killed me deep inside. Yeah, and probably also out there going through the same scenario. The only reason you're going to be stuck, regardless of whether you're having more clients, is because of this issue, which is you multiplied the wrong parameter, which is your price. Now, it wouldn't be fair if I just told you the problem and never gave you the solution. Okay? Now, here's the solution. Let's first put back our equation. Revenue equals a certain proportion of price multiplied by the clients. And we saw that if you get to multiply this, it is a wrong move. So here's what you should be doing right now. This would be the new equation you're supposed to follow. Revenue should always equate to price multiplied by clients. Now, instead of increasing on your number of clients, guess what you have to do? Get to increase on this. This worked for me seriously because using the same example I gave you about how I used to survive at campus, it reached a point in time towards my end of university, towards my end of higher graduate university, in that I had to do my own work, yeah, and my research was really hectic. So guess what? I also needed the money. So instead of now serving 4 clients, I was like, whoa, how do I get to survive on this? Because I had my work that I wanted to be perfect, I chose not to work on more clients, but instead reduce clients to 2. In fact, I told these guys I'm not working on anyone because I have my own work at hand. So they were dying, meaning the demand was there. So guess what happened? I said I'm only taking up 2 people. But instead of charging 250k, I'm now going to charge you 500k. And guys were okay with it. Meaning that for the 1M that I always wanted to survive on, I now increase the prices to 500k. Then I multiplied by the few clients that I reduced from 4 to 2. And now it gave me the profit that I wanted. And that is something that you should also apply. Instead of increasing on the number of clients, get to increase on the price itself, on the proportion of the price that you get as revenue. Yeah? Increase it. And that is going to be much safer than trying to increase on the number of clients. Anyways, let me give you a systematic, step-by-step kind of fix that is going to help you overcome this. All right? So, one, you have to do an audit of your price. Yeah? You need to sit down and ask yourself, am I really underpricing myself? Am I really underpricing my product? Yeah. Say if you're charging 250k, yeah, and other people, and let's say you're charging 250k, and you want to have 1M as revenue, yeah, you need to ask yourself, am I really undercharging for the value I'm trying to give? Yeah. So if you think you're undercharging, then you have to tighten your offer. Yeah. Now, because now you know the value you try to give to your people, you have to tighten your offer. Like now, I was trying to help people, with their dissertations and all that. But it reached a point in time where I was like, I need to fix this. If you want me to do quality work for you, in fact, I was like, if you want good grades this time, I'm only going to work on 2 people. And just 2 people. So that I get to have plenty of your time to give you grades that will get you, but that will make you pass with good grades. And that was it. And because of that, because I'm going to make you pass with good grades, I'm going to increase on my prices. Yeah? So a tightened offer, that means a compelling offer. If you don't know how to set up your offer, I would recommend a book called Offers. Yeah? For those of you that don't know it, a book called Offers by Alex Samosi. It is going to help you on formulating your offer that is going to sell, that is going to make people feel stupid saying no. Yeah. So you have to have a compelling offer. And remember, with such a compelling offer, any price you get to increase or set, yeah, regardless of whether it is high or not, people will feel glad paying it. Okay? So that is 2. Now 3. After now understanding this, yeah. So remember with this we said, ask yourself if you're undercharging or underpricing. If you're underpricing, then work on fixing your offer. That becomes our second step. Tighten your offer. Make your offer so compelling that people will feel stupid saying no. Raise your price floor. Yeah. So because here you're undercharging, let's say 250 was the list price. Yeah. And now you made your offer so compelling, it makes no sense for you to stay at the same price. And I'll be making a video why you staying at the same price is bad for your business. And that will be maybe the next video that is coming up or some other time. But then, the fact that you've made your offer so compelling, now it justifies for you raising your price floor. So, for those of you who don't know what price floor is basically the bare minimum you can go for in order for you to do that price. Yeah. So, basically maybe your price floor was 250k. Now raise it from maybe 250k to 350k based on the increase in value. Yeah. Again, the keynote here, do not get to raise your price floor without raising your outcomes or your result. Yeah. So the rule of thumb will be increase your price floor if your value is also increased. Are we together? So that is where, like now for me, I guarantee these guys that if they don't get grades that they wanted to get, I'll be refunding them their money. But it only came at a cost where I have to reduce on the number of clients I work with, and I increased my prices from 250 to now 500 tab. Make sense? Cool. Hit the like button to show that yo man, you're following. Step 4 is you sell the outcome, not the process. For most of you, you're failing to raise your price floor because what you're selling is the process. But you need to understand this logic. Clients don't get to buy your processes. Yeah?